Hi everybody, this is video 11 in the Barry Chronicles, and I have a treat for you this week, or at least half of a treat. This week's blog post, through video form rather, is not from me, although I'll be the one reading it. That's why it's half of a treat. The other half of the treat is the fact that this post is written by Morgan, my half sister, the first sibling that I came in touch with through this experience. And again, remember, this is all happening a couple years ago. I'm catching you up to speed. And a couple months after the discovery in last week's video of the additional two siblings, the twin sisters, the holidays were upon us. The first holidays after discovering that we were biologically and genetically given Jewish heritage, if you will. So this is a post that Morgan did as a guest blog, and I'll be reading it for you today. 3 years have passed since this original piece was sent to David and Thomas via email on the first night of Hanukkah as siblings. In the years since, I am slowly gaining experience with my family and our holiday traditions. I can sing the blessing without much of a stumble, retell the story of the Maccabees, and make sufganiyot, although my latkes are hit or miss, and I might have said one of those wrong. As the number of Hanukkah texts to siblings grow each passing year, so does my sense of belonging. There's a deeper understanding of the heritage that is woven deep into my DNA, a familiarity of spinning the dreidel with my children while the candles burn on our menorah, but more importantly, there's a family that has developed around me. Built from many, on a scaffold of hidden truths, tears, painful revelations, and fear, we have built a new kind of community joined by a deep-rooted need for belonging, love, comfort, and relationship. We share an experience that can only truly be understood by one another. I am no longer an only child. I am a sister. No longer just by DNA, but also by relationship. The theoretical faces of potential siblings have real photos in my home, real voices on the other end of the call, real love in my heart. These people are my family, and I belong to them. Although I have yet to fully understand the larger community we all come from, I am grateful to have them by my side as we continue to understand our truth. A Hanukkah Wish, December 2017. Something felt a little fraudulent ordering my first menorah off of Amazon at the age of 31. Like the Intro to Being a Jew kit equipped with all of my Hanukkah essentials would give away all my life secrets, and of those there are many. Teaser number 1, I misspelled Hanukkah on the first attempt in the search bar. I don't even know how to spell Jewish words because I am not even Jewish. Well, at least I wasn't. I wasn't raised Jewish. I am not of Jewish faith, and until 5 months prior to my first attempt at Hanukkah, I didn't even know I had an ounce of Jewish heritage running through my veins. I was raised mutt, proudly so, according to my mother, as we were a little of this and a little of that, and white enough to stay the hell out of the sun. The truth was that very little emphasis was placed on heritage because when I was 8, my parents told me my father could not conceive children due to an accident, and I was graciously conceived through a donor program after years of fertility treatments. No information was available about my donor or my heritage. The only request of my parents being that the donor matched their little of this, little of that Caucasian ethnicity. 3 decades and a multitude of technological advancements later, I dropped a vial of my spit into an envelope and went to work. Things like those tests take precisely the amount of time for you to forget you're waiting for the results to arrive, and then they do. In my scenario, I was not reading emails on my phone during a meeting when I learned I was Jewish. 49% to be exact. Such an exact percentage that it could only mean one thing and one thing only. My donor was Jewish. Expectations are often things you may not realize you have until they're not met, or perhaps in my case, exceeded. If this test was going to give me some kind of identity for my donor, I had expected the results to be inconclusive. A little of this and a little of that. Nothing to trace back to who he was. Nothing to give me something so concrete as an identity. But this was something almost tangible, something I didn't know I wanted, or almost needed, until it was felt. And in truth, it was not about him, but about me. It was about being the girl in 8th grade, with no family recipe for the family heritage project, but my grandmother's apple pie. And looking just like my mom, all but my nose. Having something, being half something, being Jewish, it felt so grounding, like there was an untethered rope inside of my identity, flailing about, and this little $99 vial of spit just tied it deep into the earth. It wasn't at that moment I decided to jump into being a Jew, nor have I since that moment, for that matter. But children have a funny way of bringing importance to tradition, and they also have a hard time understanding the word no. My kiddos were very excited to learn that they were a quarter Jewish. Please enter Adam Sandler's Hanukkah song. And of course, they decided that we needed to add Hanukkah to our holiday traditions. Mommy not being raised Jewish, nor my lack of knowledge or experience, did not seem to be very convincing. They asked over and over for a menorah until that fateful day I found myself Googling and misspelling my Hanukkah Essentials kit. To further matters of my fake Jewishness, my children told their teachers at school that we were celebrating Hanukkah, and as one of our rural town's newly appointed Jewish residents, I was asked to bring in our menorah and read a story to the classroom. I was afraid the teachers would see that I didn't have it in me, whatever it is. I felt like a fraud, wanting to participate in something that felt deep and meaningful for me and my children, but lost and ultimately less connected than I felt before the whole season had kicked off. I started to worry that I was being culturally disrespectful by trying to practice something I was just barely learning about myself through self-led navigation. One evening, after sharing my concerns with my mother, she began to question why I was doing this. What was the motive? If it was bringing up so many fears of not being respectful, not doing it correctly, and confusing my kids, then why was I doing this? Moms are good like that, hitting you between the eyes with the hard questions and forcing out the real truth. So here it was, the real truth, the big secret. It was not that I might be a fake Jew and people would see it, nor that I can't even spell Hanukkah. It was not even my potential cultural disrespect by trying to Google teach myself how to be a Jew. The real secret is that somewhere deep inside, I felt that they were out there. My family was out there. Truth is said from a different place, somewhere deep within and usually blocked by fears so deep that it keeps our mouths shut. When I said those words and the tear ducts sprung into action like Old Faithful, I knew I'd hit one of those big chunks of truth. A huge part of me became tethered into place when I found out that I had a heritage to identify with. But with that, something else came loose, the ancient, untold longing for siblings. The quiet curiosity that they may be out there somewhere had begun to rebuild inside me. Being an only child, I had countless days fantasizing about what it would be like to have brothers or sisters. It always lingered in my mind that my donor could have donated more than once, or that he may have children of his own, and out there, frolicking among the masses, are my unknown siblings. I know it didn't make sense, and perhaps it was irrational, but if my donor siblings were out there, celebrating Hanukkah, I wanted to be a part of it. In my heart, I knew that I would never have a way to find them and experience family or tradition together. But if I could participate in this one thing that they must celebrate, I could know that for 8 nights at sundown, we'd be doing the same thing. It brought me a sense of connection and kinship to family that intuitively I knew was out there somewhere. So for 8 nights, we lit candles. We butchered the Hanukkah blessing, but I tried. And tried all of the kosher candy our local grocer sold. I learned to make latkes, and the whole family learned dreidel, and every night I felt a part of myself. I felt a part of something much bigger than myself. So my first year as a newbie Jew was kind of a mess. But it was beautiful. It held all of the intentions of love and family and culture that I wanted and respected. And I think God heard me, or the universe, or the fates of the DNA world are just funny that way, because this year, the story is different. I have those beautiful siblings who may or may not know anything more about being Jewish than I do, but they sure know about love and family and the wild ride our stories have taken to bring us together. So those candles on the menorah may not work like a birthday wish, but for this girl, Hanukkah wishes really do come true.